Welcome to Defcon 3. I'm KT McFarland. President Obama and European leaders this week announced a new round of more serious sanctions, sanctioning certain sectors of the Russian economy. So the ball is now in Vladimir Putin's court. Is he going to double down or back down? Aron, who is the resident scholar and director of Russian studies at the American Enterprise Institute, is here to join us. And Leon has also written the book, Roads to the Temple. So, Leon, what do you think? Back down or double down?
I think short-term, bluster and double down. Longer term, if we stick with these sanctions and add more, specifically prohibiting investment, not just technology transfer, but investment in the Russian oil and gas industry, I think we may force Putin to reconsider his options, but that, I'd say, years away.
So what happens between now and years away? I mean, what happens in the next few days? This fighting continues?
The fighting continues. Putin is intensifying the movement of men and troops and heavy equipment across the border. And he would see if he could do it on the battlefield, he will secure the so-called rebels' hold. If he cannot, I think he may try to create a ceasefire, which in essence would create a frozen conflict. Basically, you know, they'll hold what they have now, and he'll tie them up in endless negotiations.
You know, I've been impressed with your writings. You've kind of gotten inside Vladimir Putin's head in the things that you've written. What's motivating him? I mean, what is this all about? Reclaiming greater Russia? Is it for economic dominance? What's motivating him, and why is he taking these sort of increasingly risky risks?
Well, there are several things, and like with every leader, there are several motivations. You know, self-preservation. I think he's going for the presidency for life. I mean, they're all indications, with or without elections. The war helps, as it helps any authoritarian, because you create a rally around the flag, and the Russian economy is in an increasingly troublesome shape. So he cannot remain the leader, popular leader, without this semi-hysterical propaganda campaign against the plots by the U.S. But he also, I think, is motivated by larger things. I think he wants to reclaim all the geostrategic assets that were lost in the Soviet collapse, not necessarily recreating the Soviet Union, but sort of reclaiming to the Russian state what he thinks it's due. And finally, I think he looks to Ivan the Terrible and Peter the Great as as sort of examples of what's known as an ingathering of the Russian lands, that is, helping the co-religionists, the Orthodox Russians, and the Russian speakers outside Russia, and of them, you know, there are over 10 million now, to get close to the motherland.
So is he taking a bet that the United States, Europe, NATO, the West does not respond in any military way?
No, absolutely, and he's absolutely right. That is completely off the table. What I think he also, I think, correctly calculated that the sanctions, initially at least, would be not terribly biting and certainly not in any way interfering with his war effort.
Yeah. So what we can anticipate then is the fighting continues, and it may even intensify between the separatists and the Ukrainian government in the days and weeks ahead.
Absolutely, with even more and heavier and more sophisticated equipment in Russia. The thing to remember here is that winning, or at least not losing in Ukraine, is the key domestic political imperative for Putin. This has become the cornerstone of the regime, the key to its popularity, and the key to Putin's personal popularity. He cannot give up on Ukraine.
Wow. Well, I think that really says it all. He's not going to back down. He's definitely going to double down, according to Aron, who's the director of Russian studies at the American Enterprise Institute and author of Roads to the Temple. Thanks for joining us, and that's it for Defcon 3.